stay active any kind of way. Sitting for long periods is one of the major causes of back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain. You know, a lot of people, they work, they sit for 8-10 hours, then go home and sit on the couch. And what people need to understand, the best thing they can do for their health is to find a way to move.
Welcome to Root Cause Holistic Health. I'm Dr. John Harmon, physician, brain health expert, and your host on this no-fluff journey into whole body healing.
And I'm Tracy Green, wellness coach, mom, and co-host. This is the space where we get real about what actually heals, not just what's trending.
If you're done with surface level advice and ready to understand your body, your mind, and your health from the inside out, this podcast is for you.
We're here for the raw conversations most people avoid. We don't sugarcoat, we don't shame. We offer tools, truths, and transformation.
Welcome back, friends, to Root Cause Holistic Health. We are so honored that you have chosen today and right now to spend some time with us. Dr. Harmon and I feel very blessed to have this platform and to be able to speak to you on a weekly basis. Today, we have a very special guest with us, and I'm going to let Dr. Harmon introduce his very special friend.
Yes, he is a very special friend. I think we've known each other for about 3 years now, Phil, and we met through a group here in town. But I think one of the reasons I wanted to have you on this podcast is because some of the things you said in the talk that we shared. We all spoke, you and David and I spoke that one night. And you talked about how you're helping people 40 and above. And I thought that was a really great focus, because that's when we start to get, we're looking back and we're going, holy heck, I'm getting older. But you talked about some metrics that actually affect your lifespan. Mm-hmm. And those things really got my attention. And I do want to talk about some of those, but Phil, I would really like you to introduce yourself and tell us how you got here in the Boise area, what you came from, and then what your focus is in your gym that we see behind you right there.
Thank you guys for having me. I was super excited to get on this, this podcast with you guys today. My name is Phil McDaniels. They call me Coach Phil. And I've been a personal trainer in the fitness and nutrition and supplement world for about over 23 years now. I started back in Chicago, born and raised. Chicago.
There's a lot wrapped up in those.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Those three words.
And my history with fitness, it started past the gym scene. I didn't start like, your average personal trainer, you get your certification, you start at a gym or these things. I actually started with self-employment. Probably wouldn't recommend that for everybody starting. Before fitness, I was already working in the school arena. My background is in social work. I used to teach substance abuse, anger management, and conflict resolution, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you won't believe how it helps me through the fitness world right now.
Oh,
that background. And at the time, I was working with at-risk youth in certain communities. But at that time, I was also getting into, elevating my health and wellness at the time. What I eventually did is I added a fitness and nutrition piece to the social work piece and just started presenting it to the school system.
So, which was brilliant, because a lot of those kids probably didn't have a very good diet, which then affects brain health and, hormones and all of those things.
Yeah, it was. It came to me a while back while I was doing the work that maybe some of these behaviors and some of these things stems from nutrition and exercise.
Yeah.
And everything that goes around that. So that was my thing. I was like, wait a minute. Why don't I do a piece on behavior, and then we get into exercise and nutrition afterwards? And that's where it all began. It began in the school systems, the Chicago public school systems, working with kids, parents, and students, just a community. And then it kind of exploded from there. But the interesting thing about it, as I started to progress with that, I would say maybe 3 years later, most of the schools started bringing me in for the exercise piece, because that's when obesity hit like a big time high in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And when it came to the school system and just activity in general, it was a budget thing. So PE got cut out of a lot of schools, or PE got cut down to 1 day a week, these things. So the fact that I was in a social service arena, that's when they brought us into the school system. They brought the contractors in, the personal trainer, the karate teacher, these things, so the kids can get activity. My work started to progress into more of the health and wellness side because obesity became a big problem. And then the social work part kind of faded out because that wasn't as big of an issue as obesity in the school system.
I read some stats the other day about our kids in our schools, and it's sad that they can't even do the basic stuff we were required to do in school, man. I mean, you had to do pull-ups and sit-ups and push-ups and rope climb and all of that, sprints, but not anymore.
It was very, very interesting. And then once I started doing that, it just exploded. It was the CPS school system. Then I transitioned to private schools, charter schools, these type of things. And then it just exploded around the city and the suburbs. So I was that. Like I said, I didn't start in a gym like everyone else. I started on the road, nonprofit agencies, doing my work.
So how did you end up in Idaho?
I followed a woman here.
It's always a woman.
It always comes down to that. It's always a
woman on a job, right?
Always a woman.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I followed a woman. The person I was seeing at the time moved here. At that time, I had a stint in California. I didn't come straight here from Chicago. I actually spent 4.5 years in Los Angeles. And then I did some work in corporate America in the fitness industry. Then I used to manage a gym there. The person I met there moved to Boise. And being from Chicago and LA, you're like, Boise? What's Boise?
Yeah.
Never heard of Boise before?
That's somewhere in Iowa.
Idaho, yeah, it's in Idaho, yeah. It was that.
That's people where's Idaho? And they go, yeah, it's in the Midwest somewhere.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about this hidden gem.
Yeah. They're trying to keep the secret safe, but I think the secret's out.
Secret's out now.
Yeah.
So the person I was seeing at the time, a whole family came out here, and I was the last holdout because it's like Chicago and LA, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I took that chance and came out here, and now I'm here forever.
So, Phil, what inspired you then to focus your entire training around mobility, longevity, functional strength for people over 40?
Because I got old. Because I got old, and I saw that I had to do things differently myself. Because even if they hit us with this, the world hit us with, all you have to do is be active, and then you're good the rest of your life. But it's a certain type of active. And me, like so many other people, we're taught the same metrics on how to train our body that is not necessarily conducive to longevity, specifically isolation strength training. All of us, we were taught by the Arnolds and Sylvesters of the world, and this is chest and tries and back and bis and leg day and all of that. That's good when you're in your 20s and 30s, but if you isolation training your whole entire, workout career, then there's repercussions. It's lack of mobility. It's lack of flexibility.
Yeah, I don't remember any of those guys showing us how to stretch.
Stretching, exactly. It was about
Stretching,
the mirror.
Or work on like functional exercises. Most guys, I would say back in my day, they're working on bench press, bicep curls and maybe some leg extensions.
That's all it was about.
And anything they can see from the front. and so that doesn't give a good foundation. And I'll let you explain that. You're much better at it than I am.
Well, as I noticed how I aged and just couldn't do the things I used to do because of shoulders and knees and things like that. So I geared my, what I do to first figure out how I can get over the hump. Being in it for so long, I was the trainer in his 20s and 30s. I watched the baby bloomers become baby bloomers by being in it so long. So I'm seeing people who were sedentary, also the people who worked out all of their lives, but some of them are dealing with the same issues. So without functionality, without mobility, without flexibility, without all of these things, it all can catch up with you. And my philosophy is now functional strength and mobility is the key to longevity. And once I started incorporating those type of, workout patterns into my training, people felt better. They were able to move better. And now I'm dealing with a society that knows how to make that transition instead of what I call chasing who you used to be. We look back at our 30-year-old selves. I used to do this. Why can't I do it now? But that was before.
Right.
Chasing your business and your career and kids and family. So I had to gear myself around just that typical, let me work my job, let me work out before and after, and that's a person's whole life. But when you have businesses and children and family, the training methods have to be different. And functional strength training targets everything in the least amount of time.
And Phil, a lot of people, I would say the average person, does not understand the difference between active range of motion in a joint, passive range of motion in a joint.
Exactly. And you just pretty much summed it up right there.
And we do exercises in an active range of motion, and we don't realize that we're starting to lose extension and internal rotation, like in my shoulder. Like I reach back to scratch my back or something. We don't realize part of that is the passive range of motion the shoulder starts to tighten up. You don't realize that I can still do my bench press.
Yeah.
I can still do my curls. But I don't have that flexibility that some of what you're talking about, the functional exercises, not just working a muscle. Could you explain that a little bit of what you do and how you teach people to do things like that?
Well, it's about functional strength training mean exercises that mimic everyday life.
Yes.
So it's the pushing, it's the pulling, it's the reaching. So if you're bench pressing and shoulder pressing your entire time without adding that mobility and flexibility, then there's a possibility of it becoming a problem. That's what I gear my whole training program. Yes, I have people who need more isolation movements depending on their goals, but I assess by age, I assess by body composition, and everything is custom to that person. But I would tell you this, most people, even aside from the demographic that I target, need functional strength training.
Oh, absolutely. So what do you think the biggest myth for those of us that are just a little over 40? Just kidding. I'm a lot over 40. But you're right, though, about I've been in the gym for 20 years, and it's completely different now. My gym workout now is completely different from what it was when I was 25. So what do you think the biggest myth 40-year-olds or someone over the age of 40 has, and keeping them back from being their best self or being their most healthy?
The number one thing is probably, again, chasing who you used to be. Mm-hmm. If you used to be a marathoner and you haven't ran in 10 years since then, you can't go out and run, 14, 15 miles, just jumping out of bed. You have to train yourself up to that point. And what people over 40 need to understand is that it's not that you can't do these things anymore, but the patterns that you need to get there is different from where you was before. So I teach people how to slow down and work on So let me give you an example. Running your quadriceps are the dominant muscle. People have issues if they've been a runner all their life because they never train their ad and adductors, hamstrings, calves. They haven't trained other areas, and people become more quad dominant, doing less glute activation and all the things that they need for mobility and functionality. So that's what I do. I say, hey, you want to become a runner again? Okay, that's fine. But let me start strengthening up your core in other areas that's conducive to you running, but still being able to maintain your everyday life at home without aches and pains. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's the number one thing. That's one of the things. I wouldn't say number one. I would say the number one thing is people over 40 not understanding body composition. Mm. It's like we go off of these metrics that these are the strategies and tactics to get to our goals, but it's not necessarily true for every single body. And what I mean by body composition is just say a person is 160 pounds. You can be standing next to another person who's 160 pounds, same body type, structure, and look the same. But bodies can be totally different because of skeletal muscle mass and body fat mass. So, for example, you can be 160 pounds. Just say we have a lady who's 160 pounds. Her skeletal muscle mass can be at 60, and her body fat percentage can be at 28. But she probably still thinks she's overweight. But you go to the second person who has 45 pounds of skeletal muscle mass. And body fat, just say 35. They can look the same, but it's two different ball games. And with people over 40, when they want to lose weight, you can have these same body types, but they're using the same metrics to lose weight. When the understanding needs to be behind losing weight and burning body fat, it can be all in the same, but it can be different depending on the individual. If that makes any sense.
So what does that initial kind of consultation or that initial visit, what are some of those measurements that you use to give you that insight on how to best help that client of yours?
Well, look, I use an InBody machine, an InBody 270, that gives me the metrics of a person's body. And, it makes my day when I can explain to somebody who feels they're overweight and say, listen, you have an insane amount of skeletal muscle mass. This is what's going to come into play when you're 60, 70, and 80 years old. Not what you see in the mirror right now. That's the myth. That's what I want to debunk. People judge their health by what they see in the mirror.
And what they can pinch on their waist.
Yes, by looking in the mirror. And you know what? Not just the mirror. The mirror is second, the scale. The scale lies to us every single day. And we'll take it and we'll freak out. Like, oh my God.
The average person. Absolutely.
I'm looking at people who think they're overweight that I think are God-given physical specimens. And then my main thing with these people is, listen, I understand you want to lose weight, but I need to explain to you the type of weight that needs to be paid attention to and where you are right now. You're a healthy individual that probably lived to 110 years old because of what I'm seeing on your body scan.
Well, and you probably speak a lot about nutrition too. I mean, you talked about it before with kids in school, nutrition and exercise go hand in hand. And so I'm sure that's a huge conversation with your clients now. Their nutrition, diet plays a huge role in working out and losing weight, especially.
It does. And I tell you, the time that I've been in this, if I go back to what I was taught 20 years ago compared to now, a lot of things have been debunked. A lot of things are just simply untrue. And a lot of things have just made people more unhealthy without them being aware of it. And to debunk more myths, I would say probably the number one thing when it comes to exercise and nutrition is the placement of carbohydrates, 3 meals a day, and HIIT training and excessive cardio to lose weight. None of those things are true.
You just described every 40-year-old woman out there. I don't want to eat carbs. I want to go to all the HIIT classes. You just described all of my girlfriends.
Yeah, I'll get back to nutrition in a moment. I just want to point out this HIT thing for a moment.
Mhm.
HIT training in everything in a group setting. I mean, every single class you can think of in a group setting, the exception may be yoga, but everything else in the group setting are not necessarily conducive to personal goals. They're
Mhm.
fillers. They're
Yes, and there's a
fillers.
lot of pressure on those people who were in that class. And I used to treat a lot of injuries in my office when I was doing chiropractic to people who went to, like this group. They used to call it CrossFit before, and now they have a stress fracture in their foot bone because there was a lot of pressure to do certain things that it wasn't really designed individually for them.
That's more than half of my clientele, active people
Mm,
that came from that scene. And I get it. CrossFit and these other kind of classes, they play a role. I'm not saying they're not effective, but they're not conducive to personal goals, number one.
right.
And number two, the individuals don't understand they are responsible for their form. They are responsible for watching themselves. And I think group training tends to put more pressure on people to compete and look like the person next to you instead of
Yes.
doing what's best for your body. So I work with a lot of people one-on-one that are super fit, but now I'm helping people recover from back injuries, shoulder injuries, etc.
Well, I don't think anybody over 40, well, it's hard. CrossFit is hard. It's hard on your knees. I mean, a 20-year-old, they can do that all day long, but CrossFit, like you said, be very competitive. So if you're not completely paying attention to your form, one, or two, used to it, I mean, you're completely out of what you should be doing, especially over 40.
Yeah.
So yeah, those group settings are really hard. I think for over 40, for sure.
Well, I've done group training for 15 years straight in so many different settings, from kids to corporate wellness, you name it. I prefer not to do any group training anymore because most people need that individualized attention. Most people forms are bad. And I can literally get a in-body scan, assess a person and say, you know what? If you want to do group training, why don't you go over here to this yoga or this bar class or something like that? I don't recommend HIIT at the time because of your back, because of this. I give them what they need here, and then I coach them on the group training they want because a lot of people like that. See, the thing about group training is about camaraderie and accountability. That's what group
Sure.
training is. It's like a family. I get it. I get it. But you have to pay attention to something that's open to a person who's 100 pounds, but also open to someone 400 pounds. That it has to make you think. If it's open to any body type, no matter what you are, it can't be too conducive to anything personally. So it's up to the person to figure out what they need and then put the other programs in place. If they have a weak core, you need to do maybe some core training on the side that class don't offer, so forth and so on.
Typically, that's not evaluated though before those classes, right?
And it's not going to be evaluated.
No, you just go to the
because
class. As long as you pay the fee, you can come in and you can injure yourself. It's nobody's fault but our own. But there was no assessment.
there's no assessment. And if you think about group training, a lot of the instructors are trained and coached and taught what they're training to teach and coach.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't know about that. So I'm not throwing a shot at group training. I'm just saying that instructors, as well as people who get into any type of group training, you have to assess what you may be missing, what that group training doesn't offer. And if it's like a cardio class or something like that, you don't need to do a cardio class 4 to 5 days a week. I don't care what your goals are.
Right.
Weight training should be first out of everything. And then that stuff need to be added on.
Well, and like you said, especially over 40, I mean, we need to be working on the weight training. And I've recently learned, you can lose more weight if you weight train. It's hard for women to make that connection, right? They want to go run or do a lot of CrossFit or a lot of HIIT, but really that weight training adds so much benefit to weight loss. And I think that's a big misconception that a lot of women over 40 have as well.
You know what the biggest one for women over 40 is? They don't know that you start to lose 10 pounds of muscle mass every decade after 40.
Oh my gosh.
So imagine you hit 40 and then all you're doing is hitting cardio and you're not strength training and you're not hitting your protein and fat macros. That means all the stuff that you're doing can be burning your muscle mass.
What you're doing is so important. And you found a perfect niche too with people over 40, because it needs to be one-on-one, a specialized program. You've got to look at their current lifestyle, you building their own program around their own needs. I feel like that's such a better option for someone over 40, having personal training rather than trying to do it themselves or go to a bunch of group classes. Because like you said, your goals aren't going to get met, going to a couple HIIT classes a week. It's so sporadic too. What muscles you work on are so sporadic. There's no way you're building any kind of muscle or any kind of strength training at a HIIT class. So I think I'm really excited that our audience is getting to hear from you and what you offer and what you bring to the Boise area, because it's very, very valuable. I know a lot of people get stuck in that, that diet workout hamster wheel with no results. And that's probably why, they're over 40 and they've lost. Do that stat again.
Over 40, women can lose 10 pounds of skeletal muscle mass every decade after 40. So that's why things like strength training, making sure you hit your macros, and stuff like creatine is important for ladies. We used to think it was just for the bodybuilders. But ladies, especially seniors, and almost everyone should be taking creatine because it protects muscle mass.
So would you say to someone like that when they do the wrong type of workouts, they're actually using some of that energy or those building blocks, that they're actually using muscle?
Absolutely.
You're basically wasting it away by not doing the proper exercise and not having the proper diet, like adding creatine.
Exactly. We live in a spot train society. Mm-hmm. And every trainer or anybody in fitness, wellness, or whoever you are, everybody knows that's the number one thing you can't spot reduce.
Well, so many people do it though.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But that's the mentality.
I'm going to work my abs, therefore I'm going to lose, an inch in my abs.
Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, I want to keep my butt, but I want to lose the weight around my stomach, It doesn't work like that.
No.
And then I will have people that come to me and say, hey, I want a bigger butt. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? So no, they say, I want a bigger butt. I'm not getting it, but I work out 5 days a week. Well, it's maybe because you're working out 5 days a week and you're doing your glute workouts HIIT style, So what a lot of ladies need to understand, if they just say they want, more muscle in the glutes or the quads or whatever, that's going to take heavier strength training. And in some cases, some people may need to increase their calories. Because again, with the Spots Train Society, we've also been taught work out more and eat less, which is also incorrect. Your calories have to match your energy expenditure. Mm-hmm. So as much as you do HIIT, as much as you do CrossFit, those calories have to match your entire day, not just the exercise. Are you walking? Are you bike riding? Your total daily expenditure, your macros have to match that. And that's the key. Do you tell somebody that they may need to increase their calories? They'll freak out.
Especially women.
Especially women, yeah.
Especially women.
What? What are you talking about? I need to finish my plate.
With protein and fat macros. That's it. I'm not putting everybody on high carb diets.
Okay, so just briefly, let's talk about macros, because I've been in the gym world for a long time. I know about macros, but many of our listeners may not know what that is. That might be a new term for them. Can you just briefly talk about that for a minute?
Macros are simply you getting a projection of the protein, fats, and carbohydrates that your body needs every single day to hit your goal. And the problem is people work out hard, but still eat the same way or not eat this amount that they need. And then people who are overweight, say, for example, they would say, no, I don't need to eat more. I don't need to eat this. I already eat a lot. That's why I'm overweight. Mm-hmm. Which can be, different for everybody. So if someone wanted to lose weight, again, I go back to the InBody. I'm looking at their skeletal muscle mass. I'm looking at their body fat percentage. I'm looking at everything and say, Based on how many times you work out a week, we need to increase your calories and you need more proteins. And the number one thing that most people are not getting in their diet that may be hindering their goals are the fats. People don't get enough fats in their diet.
Can you give us some examples? Can you give us some examples of some healthy fats in your opinion?
Well, you can go to the oils or your olive oils, fats from actual fish, meat, avocado is like probably the number one in my book. But there's a lot of ways around it. I prescribe to my clients, those that I think are struggling to hit their fats, you could just get an MCT oil. MCT oil is derived from coconut, and it's a healthy fat that you could just scoop in your protein shake. If I'm telling you need 2 protein shakes a day, put in a scoop of MCT oil powder in your protein shake, along with your avocados, your fatty meats and things like that, and your oils, boom. It's a lot more simpler to hit fats.
MCT oil is what allows me to say that my coffee is a health food.
Oh, that's like the gold way to do it.
Man, I use
collagen. That's gold.
Collagen peptides, MCT oil, and actually organic coconut oil, and a little bit of maple syrup.
I added maple syrup to from your recommendation. Last time we talked about coffee, I've done maple syrup. I found some it's a
natural sugar. It's better metabolized.
Okay, so now I love the coconut oil. So I'm getting my healthy fats. Man. All right, and coffee, because I can't give up coffee. I've tried.
My coffee's dessert, even though it's the first thing I have in the morning. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of coffee, so I don't tell anybody to stop drinking coffee.
Yeah, there actually there's some evidence about it actually helping with a workout.
Yeah, it burns body fat and delay fatigue. That's what coffee does. But of course, the way we're describing it now, not the loaded sugar loaded stuff and all of that. And we haven't talked about fillers yet as much. But it's that type of stuff. But if you person wants to drink black coffee, I do mushroom powders in mine.
More than half of that coffee is more mushrooms. Yeah. So you got some coffee for the flavor, collagen peptides, MCT, organic coconut. You get it from Costco. But the taste of that is, to me, is like really close to chocolate to me, as far as, favorite flavor. And then the organic maple syrup.
Yep.
I can't see anything.
A lot of people use that collagen. That collagen is great to put in your coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Collagen powder.
It just know that it won't blend well with cold coffee. If you do a cold brew, it hot dissolves it, and one of those little frothers is good.
What's interesting? I never had a cold brew in my entire life.
We used to do cold brew coffee.
I've never been into it. It's just like, wait a minute. It has to, even if it's 100 degrees outside.
Now, well, you live in Chicago, you live in Boise, 2 very cold environments. So more hot drinks than.
She was just bragging that it's going to be 83 in Florida today. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're bragging.
I get no sympathy from my Idaho friends when I tell them I had to wear a sweatshirt this morning when it was 58. So I know.
I almost started crying.
For you. 100 and something degrees outside. I'm still getting hot coffee. I'm the one that's looked that weird when I go on a coffee
me too.
shopping.
Yeah.
Get the hot coffee on a 100-degree day.
Yeah. So what cold brew does, it makes it so people can drink a lot more, which is not recommended. It's easy to, if you just drink it like, dessert. Oh, this is so good. You could drink a whole quart of that, which I obviously don't recommend.
Yep. It's probably a strategy to sell more cold brew.
So when someone comes into you, you do all of that, the body fat, the muscle mass, all of that. What else is included in your assessment, Phil?
Well, over the years, I say early in my career, I've always been a solid trainer that gave all my people everything they needed from the fitness end. You get a lot of people who get results, then you have those who don't get results. So what I had to do is I had to expand the things that I offer over the years to make sure that I'm covering everything that my clients need. And that is the nutrition. And that is the lifestyle coaching. it's not just random workouts and random exercises. I assess their life. I'm like, oh, okay, what do you do for a living? Okay, how many hours you work? You know, how much water you're drinking? Do you have kids? All of the things matter when it comes to prescribing somebody their workout and nutrition plan. And it's custom to everybody. So I give them the lifestyle coaching behind it, the nutrition coaching behind it. And one thing that's underrated is the supplement coaching behind it. Because people have no idea the power of supplements.
A lot of people do the shotgun approach. You know, I see something on Facebook, that looks good, I should take that. There's probably a pretty big assessment that you do to kind of cull out what they don't need. They're paying for it and they're taking, and rather than that, do a targeted approach. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Let me tell you guys a true story. I have my own supplement line. A lot of people don't know that because I stopped selling them. I have 15 products that are mine. I stopped selling my own products because the company I was going through had hidden fillers in it. And it's like, if I'm working with people over 40, I'm working with these seniors with health conditions, I cannot give them a supplement that has sucralose in it or maltodextrin or something like that. So I refuse. So it's when we buy supplements, we are triggered by what it would do for you. Oh, this will help you lose weight. Oh, this will make you run faster. But it has 4 or 5 different fillers that 10 years from now you got terrible gut health.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to avoid with people over 40. People over 40 need to stay away from these additives and fillers. That's the number one thing. So I help people find quality supplements, quality products, and get the stuff that they need for their, not just their immediate goals, but how their body is going to react 20 years from now.
I love that. I think that's so intuitive too, of how it's the whole body. It's not just now, you're thinking ahead. I heard a podcast the other day about how important squats were for women over 40, because you want to make sure you can still do squats, because if you can't do squats, that's your first ticket in, obviously later, like your seniors. But if a senior can't do squats, then they're getting into a nursing home because they can't go to the bathroom for themselves. So you want to be able to keep doing squats as you progress, 40, 50, 60, 70, make sure you're doing the functional training. And I don't think that enough 40 or 50-year-olds are thinking about, I need to strength train. I need to make sure that I'm, lifting weights, doing squats and things like that because of the long term. And I love how you're thinking long term for your clients.
And that's one of the things that he talked about in his talk was quad strength. Maybe that's a good time to talk about quad strength in lifespan.
The studies are out there. That quad muscle is one of the major muscles for everyone. Over 40 seniors, they need to squat, they need to do extensions, they need to do all of these things to make sure they strengthen that quad muscle. It helps protect your knees. It helps maintain your balance and independence as you continue to get older. You have a lower risk of dementia. There's so much research behind it. And I'm just basically saying that no matter what people have been told, no matter what workouts they've been told they should do, nothing comes close to strength training. Nothing. Building muscle and strength training. It's just we live in this world that tells us that, if you do this exercise, you're going to look big and bulky. That's what a lot of ladies are afraid of. But that's untrue. It's so untrue.
Mm-hmm.
Most women would have to do so much more than the average woman does in a gym to start bulking up.
Exactly.
I also love that you have your own private studio too, because sometimes the gym can be intimidating for women if they don't know how to lift weights, if they don't know how to move weights onto a bar, or what the different machines do. So I think it can be very intimidating. So I love that you have your private studio there and the one-on-one coaching. I think that's really, really smart.
Yeah, a real advantage.
Well, that was the goal even before I opened the place. It was one of those things where, so first of all, my gym is called Breakthrough Personal Training. We're the gym for everyone else. That's what we're called, because it's one-on-one. It's people not coming in here. You don't have to wait on equipment. No gym bros slamming equipment around or anything like that. Well, I play some, some 60s, 70s, 80s music, nice and low. And, it's just a good vibe. And people come here and they're just at peace. It's clean, all modern, updated equipment, and everything is tailored to a person's goals. No intimidation, no ego, because we're not the look at me in the mirror type of gym. Now, I mean, we still get you to where you want to be if you want to flex a little bit in the mirror, but you walk in our doors, if you're 40 years old, you walk in our doors, we're thinking mobility and independence at 50, at 60, at 70. I have 70-year-olds right now doing stuff that 30-year-olds can't do. Some of them, and it's not what we think. This whole, hey, you're getting old, just here, take this chair and roll around town. Wait, no. I have seniors boxing, kickboxing, slamming, doing everything a 30, 40-year-old can do.
Love that.
It's right on my page. Everyone go see it. On my social media, yeah.
Yeah, tell us where that is.
I'm a big social media nerd. I love being an influencer just as much as I do with fitness. And my page is at Coach Mr. Phil with 2 L's on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And what I do is I post material every single day, but most of my material is about mobility, recovery, and longevity. I put stuff out there for the busy professionals who sit all day, for back relief, knee pain, shoulders. And I give a lot of exercises and tips for beginners, things that you can transition into without fear of getting injured or things like that. So yeah, you go to my social media, and then if you look deep enough, you will see my transitions, because I didn't take a lot of my earlier stuff off my pages. You can literally go back 12 years on my social media and see stuff, how it evolved.
Oh, incredible.
So, and say that again. Where do they go?
At Coach Mr. Phil.
At Coach Mr. Phil, 2 L's.
MRPHILL, 2 L's, at Coach Mr. Phil on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, X. My stuff is out there. So I'm just trying to help people see this vision that the stuff that you've been told that you are and what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to take, a lot of it's being debunked now. And I'm helping people live their healthiest lives. I work with some people with the worst of health conditions that I'm helping feel better.
And you look at your group, your niche right here. Mm-hmm. We were in shape when we were younger. We had to be. We had PE, and now as we're aging, it's a lot more difficult. We can't do that stuff we used to do. But we still want to have that flexibility and stay in shape. So you're doing great work, Phil, for the demographic who really needs it, because we have decisions to make. We keep on the same road that we're on, and we go into that slide into frailty. It's really hard to get out of that. It's much easier to prevent that, and that's what you do. Or you do help people get out of that, I'm sure, but it's easier to train someone to not let their body get to that point where they have an illness, or they have a hip fracture or something else that puts them into a totally different category.
We fall into a zone where, just say a person has a bad shoulder or have a health condition. We're in this culture where, okay, you just need to sit down and sit in a corner until it heals up, and unless that's specifically prescribed by someone's doctor because there's, safety issues, people can start where they are. You can work on other body parts. And I just recommend anybody's dealing with anything, if you want to get in shape, the number one thing is just stay active some kind of way, even if it's long walks every day. That will help you transition into other things to further better your health. Stay active any kind of way.
Good advice right there. Don't be sedentary.
I think that's great advice. Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Bike, swimming,
If they have especially if they have an office job,
Especially if you have an office.
sitting.
Oh yeah, sitting is one of the major causes. Sitting for long periods is one of the major causes of back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain. And a lot of people, they work, they sit for 8, 10 hours, then go home and sit on the couch. You know? And what people need to understand, the best thing they could do for their health is to find a way to move. And they just give up some of these modern day conveniences because they all are meant to stop us from moving. Cars and electric bikes and elevators and stairs and everything. Phones, everything. It's all meant, conveniences was running our health. Microwavable food with a lot of fillers. We can do a podcast just on a list of things people need to stay away from.
Which we do all the time, warning people. Absolutely. Oh man, Phil, this has been great, and I learned a lot about what you do. So I'm really glad we had you on the show. If there's like one last thing you could say to the audience, I mean, you've given so much meat. If you can think of one more thing before we wrap it up, that potential, clients or people thinking about going to a trainer or joining a gym, what would you say to them?
There's something out there for you. There's people out there for you. There's professionals. We get hit with this stigma as trainers that we're all hey, look at me, look at my body, and look at, my ego, all this blah, 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 blah. But it's actually people out there like myself who can help people. I work with a client who's totally blind. I work with someone I'm helping recover from a stroke. I'm working with diabetics. I'm working with all of these people and I'm doing my part. They're doctors and physical therapists. They have all of these things in place and I'm doing my part. So physical fitness from a fitness trainer, there are people out there like myself who has brought our expertise to a certain level that can help you with some of these ailments and things that you're dealing with. And it's not always about visual. Everybody need to always think 10 to 20 years from where they are now, and their body will thank them.
20 years from now, I'm going to be 91, dude. Thanks for
You're going to be 91, still running and jumping and climbing and slamming and doing everything.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because you spend your days like, what's the next healthy thing I can add to my life?
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah, just like me.
Yep.
So,
yeah, and man, Phil, this is so great. I hope we reach the people who need you. Do you do any kind of remote stuff at all?
Actually, my business, I would say 30-40% of my business is remote now. I do a lot of remote training.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad we got that in because I don't want people to think they have to live in this area in order to take advantage of your knowledge and expertise in helping them. This is great.
I train somebody in Texas right now. I trained a couple of people in Oregon, Florida. Because before I was here, I just had people know me. I had that online presence. I had people that lived in Chicago that now live in Florida,
This is fabulous because we have our demographic is mainly women, and we have a huge following of 40 plus women, which is my favorite demographic. And I'm really glad that we are going to be able to share you with our audience and they'll be able to find you and possibly work with you. I think that's fabulous.
Yes. And the training is like one-on-one where they can see me on the phone. I'm instructing, and I have online platforms with my videos and things that they can follow as well. So I have something for everybody.
And they can learn a lot from just your videos that you've put out over all these years, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things where they can see it on my social media, or we start working together. I give them my portal with specific videos for what they may be dealing with or interested in. But I will have something that, people can, I have programs where if you specifically have a back issue or a hip problem, where you can go into my portal and get all exercises and stretches and mobility stuff for just that, or, full circle. So, that's what my team and I, we literally orchestrated this thing for everyone who needs help. And more importantly, just say you're not someone, equally as important, just say if you're not someone who's dealing with these issues, your main thought should be prevention. Because as you get older, things could possibly happen. You want to jump in front of it.
Awesome. This has been great. If you are hearing this, you need to know that we have full faith, confidence, and belief that Phil can take care of you. So reach out to Dr. Mr. Phil.
Dr. Mr. Phil. I would go by Dr. Mr.
The doctor of training.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
You might have a new name from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, Phil.
You guys as well. And I appreciate this so much. Thank you for having me. If you need me anytime, I'm here.
Loved it. Loved it.
Great.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you again, friends, for taking the time to listen in today. We hope you gained some knowledge and got some value from today's episode. If you liked it, please share it with a fellow mom or friend that might be over 40, because that's what our topic was about today. Stay grateful, stay grounded, and until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Root Cause Holistic Health. We're here to help you uncover what's really going on and empower you to take the next step in your healing journey.
Whether you're a mom, a dad, or just someone ready to stop settling for Band-Aid fixes, we hope today's episode gave you something to think about.
If you found this episode valuable, do us a favor, share it with someone you love, and leave a review so we can reach more families like yours.
Make sure to hit follow so you don't miss next week's episode. We've got more honest conversations, practical tips, and root cause wisdom coming your way.
Until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and most of all, stay connected to what truly matters.
We'll see you next time on Root Cause Holistic Health.